right, a very good morning. You are welcome. This is the KOKOLIRIKO on Westnile television. With me here, I have Faris Majid, who will be also discussing a lot of issues that happened within this region and also issues that are happening this week. Remember, we hinted on the issue of the president of National Unity Platform, who will be visiting Westnile region tomorrow. So that is one thing that will be really updating you about how far we did. There were issues to do with the venue and so on and so on. But first things first, let me welcome everyone who is watching us within the region. Talk about the people in Erua City, the people in Koboko, Yumpe, Ajumani, Terego, Maracha, and those in Moyo district. These are people who are very, very prominent in cultivation. So we appreciate you for the efforts you are putting to feed the regional city that we have here in Erua City and so on. If you look at a number of activities that are taking place in most of these local governments, most of them now are preferring to identify themselves with at least an economic activity. That is very, very important, and we feel like if these are promoted, this will take us a long way. I'll talk about those in Aluru sub-region. We have Pakwach, we have Nebi, we have Zompo, where most of the communities there are fishing communities and those who are raising for us a number of forests that specifically talking about Zombo district, where we have a lot of natural trees that are growing. We appreciate you for maintaining that, and also talk about the cultivation that people do the other side, and also a number of activities, promotion of tourism sites, promotion of modern fishing methods and so on. There are a lot that people are doing, but also the town centers. I've seen a lot of developments in Nebi Municipal that people with in nearby future will be advocating to put it as one of the cities that we'll be having. That is very, very important. And also remember, Westnile region is a transit route. There are a lot of activities, things to do with health, things to do with revenue, a lot of interactions between business persons and so on. We have the capacity to accommodate all that it takes when we are hosting people who want to traverse to other countries because we are on transit. So we have a lot to do within this region, and so if we team up and also maybe back every idea that is very developmental, we will be able to go very far. Maybe Faris. Yes, good morning. Good morning. Let me greet you for the first time when you are coming for KOKOLIRIKO. So
but I don't know why you have not been doing that.
Sure.
Every time I come on the show, you don't greet me.
But today you look interesting.
Yeah, of course, interesting because there's quite a lot that is happening, and this week I believe it's going to be one of the.
By the way, you grow every day, and now today I've seen new changes. You have beards. I don't know when you started growing these beards.
These beards mean a lot, and it means that you're growing.
Maturity, for sure.
That shows how you should be preparing, because if you look at the date today, it's the 12th of the month of August, and the month is running so fast. Very soon you are entering another month. So, and that means that it is September actually, not August. I'm still back.
Yes, September, by the way.
September. Now we're just remaining with very few months. After September, we're going to end October, and once we clock November, just know that the year has already come to an end. That means that the year is already coming to an end, because there's a word December runs so fast, and usually it comes with a lot of pressure. The festive season is around the corner, and you have to prepare. You have to really plan for that period. You are planning for the festive period, and you're also planning for January. This is to the parents. This time really, it is really one of those busy moments.
Okay, Faris. Let me tell you that there's a lot that we need to do. Let me hit you on to whatever we're going to bring to the viewers. Today we have a lot of interesting stories and touching issues that we'll be discussing around this KOKOLIRIKO. So we have the issues to do with the increase in cases of HIV prevalence among the young people. Talk about a new study has shown that 70% of the new cases that have been registered are among the adolescents, children or people, young people between the ages of 15 to 25. That means a lot. That means there's something happening. We'll be discussing that in the subsequent hours. But also we have the issues to do with the FDC saga. Remember, there are already two factions. Every leader in this faction is mobilizing some of the delegates to rally behind them. What does this mean to the party, and what is this that we really need to see in order to make sure that this party doesn't collapse, okay, before we reach 2026? That is one thing we'll be also hinting into. Also looking at the accommodation challenge in primary schools. You realize that some of the teachers have already taken over classrooms when we are even left with 1 week to resume third term. That is another thing that we'll be also talking about, taking maybe one of the case studies that we have in Arua City. Yesterday we ran stories about a school that is already having teachers in classrooms. Where will the learners be? That is also another thing we'll be hitting about, and many others that will be coming in the subsequent hours. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll be discussing some of these issues. Thank you.
Westnile TV, lighting up the region.
A brand new Global Star TV with StarTimes Inside Technology. New TV innovation with an inbuilt decoder that connects you to both StarTimes antenna and satellite signal. With StarTimes Inside Global Star TV, you can enjoy over 300 local and international channels, 1 month StarTimes highest bouquet for free, automatic system update, more benefits, more affordable. StarTimes Inside Global Star TV is available in all StarTimes branches and dealers countrywide. StarTimes Inside, entertainment inbuilt.
Westnile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back from that commercial break. As we told you that we'll be unveiling a lot of stories to do with issues that affect the community and also what needs to be done. That is one thing we're looking for. How do we bridge the gap? That is one thing we're focusing on. One of the things that we told you that we'll be bringing is the issues to do with the accommodation challenge that has hit most of the primary schools in this country. Talking about in Arua City generally, we have spotted one school, that is Pokea Primary School, that is in a Ive Division in Arua City, that was started by a Catholic church in 1949 and now has been taken over by government of Uganda for quite a very long time. That this school has never received an infrastructure, new infrastructure, apart from the renovations that have been done. But this school recently received 14 teachers who were posted, but out of these, the school only accommodates 7 teachers in 6 houses that have been constructed for the staff. But currently what is happening is some of the teachers, because they don't have money to pay rent, but also the challenges with staying with communities that you have not really known so much, these have decided to move into classrooms. Now, what does this mean to the learning environment and also the privacy that this teacher needed to have with his or her family? This is one thing we really want to understand, and also look for possible solutions, how this can be bridged, and also talk about the issues of the 3rd term, which is commencing on 18th of this month. What does this mean for the stakeholders who are in the education sector? Faris, you watched this story and you really saw those miserable sharings by some of the teachers who even testified that some of the learners can even decide to walk into a room and say, this is our classroom, what teacher, you go out, and so on. But also in terms of privacy, in terms of even kitchen facilities and so on, these have been really a lot of challenges that some of these teachers are going through. Because of the trauma, you realize that some of them may not really do well in these classrooms when they are teaching the children and so on. That means a lot. Maybe Faris, what do you make of all this really that is happening?
Frederick, just like what you have said, it really means a lot for teachers not to be having accommodation. Frederick, you know how important accommodation is in the lives of a human being. And if you are sleeping if you are sharing a classroom with the learners, trust me, as housing, what kind of life are you going to be having at the end of the day, and how is it going to impact on service delivery? And we are talking about service delivery. We expect these teachers to perform. How are they going to be performing when they are not feeling comfortable where they are? And what does this mean? Frederick, first of all, this is going to mean that the kind of work they're going to be putting out is going to be deterred just because of the kind of accommodation they're having. Frederick, if I'm sleeping poorly, it will definitely affect on the kind of service I'm supposed to be giving out. And secondly, that environment, if it is not friendly enough for me to work, trust me, it is also going to affect the kind of service I'm going to be putting out. And we talked about it. The children now are losing respect for these teachers. And we all know how children and pupils must be respecting teachers. And we have always been calling that. We had these banners in schools, respect your teachers and parents. And if these children are not respecting the teachers, what is going to be happening next, and what kind of lessons are they going to be understanding in classes? So I think that really plays a great role. And at the end of the day, if we do not address this issue timely, that time is not far, and that is when we shall still be seeing these performances in this region still going down. And that school is supposed to be teaching the learners, and that time is not very far, just on the 18th year, just some few days. So I think if the stakeholders not really come up on board and address this issue timely, it is really going to cost us a lot. It is really going to cost our learners, because the teachers are not motivated. And one reason they're not motivated is the housing aspect of it all, because if they're not properly catered for, at the end of the day, it is also going to affect their operations, because no teacher will want to spend time in such an environment. And what does this mean for the teachers who will be posted in the nearby future? Frederick, trust me, those who can afford really are going to be forced to have other means outside to rent. And these teachers who are there, maybe they are the ones that cannot afford. Now, what does this mean for the teachers who will be posted in the nearby future? Some are going to reject coming to these schools here. Even if government posts them, they will reject. Why? Why am I saying this? Because they will know that the kind of accommodation in this area is not good, and others will just come and leave. They will not mind of what kind of service they will be able to put out. Because these teachers, Frederick, I'm telling you this, housing is really very, very much important in the lives of teachers. And teachers need privacy. If the teacher is not having an environment that is not suitable for them, what kind of service are we going to be expecting from such a teacher? And as parents, sometimes also, we are going to be demanding a lot from these teachers, yet what we have really given is not enough. If we're not giving them accommodation, rather than just being posted there, and maybe these are teachers posted by the government, and really they have not been getting enough support when it comes to the issues of accommodation. And what does this mean at the end of the day? It will really mean that the teachers will be able to put out service that is not good for them. And what does this mean? The learners are not going to perceive what they're learning in class, because the teacher's mindset is really not focused, is not in that class, is not really in that, with that school, what does this mean? At the end of the day, the school will not perform. And that is why we are still going to be witnessing poor performances from this region. So I think I want to implore the government to take it up, that to see to it that this issue is addressed once and for all. If they are to be able to really construct some few housing blocks to accommodate the teachers, to really be of great importance. And to the parents also, we have the PTA and the board committees. Why don't we embrace this issue and really raise funds maybe to build small houses to accommodate these teachers, because at the end of the day, we really expect them to be within the vicinities of the school. We do not expect these teachers to be renting somewhere far. And Frederica was talking about these teachers who really have the money will opt to go and rent houses. And sometimes they will not also want to rent within the house, within the school environment. They will want to go very far just because maybe the houses they will be able to find are very affordable to them. So what does this mean? It will really promote laziness among the teachers also. One reason actually absenteeism has been common among the teachers is because they have to find other means. And now this is really going to cost us a lot, because the teachers will have to look for other means to pay rent, and they will have to look for other means for survival, and this is really going to limit their times at the school also. So I think at the end of the day, it is really going to cost our learners who will be the most affected by this all. So I think if as teachers and as stakeholders, as the relevant stakeholders, whom am I meaning here? The government, the parents, the teachers, we all have a role to play and see to it that this issue is addressed, and we can all have solutions. That is why I was saying, if the PTA and board committees embrace and sit down with the government, and if the leaders there, the political leaders also come up on board, we can do something small for these teachers, maybe to see to it that we improve on their accommodation lifestyle. Because if it is not improved, if it's not well catered for, this is really going to cost our learners, because the kind of service these teachers are going to put out will not be that what we expected out of them. Okay,
if you look at look at some of the conversations that we really made with the Secretary Social Services, who is directly in this docket of education and health, you realize that the city actually doesn't have any funds that are allocated for new constructions. They are only moving into renovations, and this has not only affected the education sector but also the health sector generally. Staffing, housing and so on is really something that needed much attention from the city leadership. But also the issues of transfers has really affected so much. You transfer teachers, and on paper you say they should move with immediate effect. There's no way this teacher is going to move to that school when he doesn't have any accommodation. And if you look at that school, particularly Pokea Primary, most of the teachers are moving from Arua city center. Talk about others residing in Tanganyika, others residing in this side of Ediofe, and others here in Arua Hill. So that means somebody walking from here up to Aivu division, the other side, that means he's moving more than 10 or 15 kilometers. What does this mean? This teacher can reach there late at around 10, and he will want to come back from maybe any early hours after lunch. He will be starting to come back. Or even a teacher might decide to start in the morning to do boda work and will go to the school later on, because you will not really be able to monitor these teachers in terms of monitoring them by the PTA and also the head teacher. It is very difficult. You cannot follow up this kind of teacher, why he's absent and so on, instead of really walking to the staff quarters to see why he's not coming to class and so on. Yes. So those are some of the things that I really feel needed to be addressed so much. And also prioritizing some of these issues in the budget is very, very key. Yes, Frederick, if you have no plan, you will not implement such things. Yes, Frederick. I was actually coming to that. Recently, the council proposed a bill to have the education contingency bill. And one aspect that this bill was supposed to also have was the component of it looking to it that the teachers' welfare is improved. And they also had a component of it that it will be able to improve on education system. Why was this bill important? I think this is now the time we needed to embrace this bill when it is passed in the council. The council, Arua City Council, was the one responsible for this bill, and I think that bill, if addressed well, it will be able to improve on the issues of education system within the region, also within the city, I should say. I think that will be able to address on that challenge. One reason the bill was coming up, you talked about no law being implemented, no fund
But now the bill is coming. It is the bill that is supposed to be having the fund. And one issue that these people are looking up to was the issue of the USMID funds. If they will be able to chop some and bring on that bill, it will really be of great importance. So that the teachers and the learners also have an improvement. And one reason that all these things are coming up is to see to it that there's an improvement in terms of the results of the learners of this region, in terms of the different levels, talking about PLE, UCE and USE. We have still continued to witness poor performances from this region. So I think if that bill comes timely and it comes with good motives also, and the people who are going to implement it, really it will be of great importance. And at the end of the day, it will be our learners to benefit from it all. So I think we need to embrace this. And just to add on that issue, I think all the relevant stakeholders need to come up on board and have a solution to this to these teachers there. Because the teachers, the school has OBs. What are they doing? Let them come up on board and really form a group and offer support to these schools, and the PTA committees, the parents, let them also have, other than just waiting for government, because government process may take long, yet we could actually do something to it that. So I want to implore the different stakeholders who are on ground to come up on board and really offer solutions to these teachers, because at the end of the day, we are demanding for what we're not giving to them. It is like we are demanding for good results for them, but what we are investing is not enough. So I think at the end of the day, if these teachers do not perform, we shall have nothing to blame them for, because we have given them, what we have given them is not sufficient enough, and cannot really it cannot really encourage them to do whatever thing they could do. So I think this is where we needed to come on board, and as the different stakeholders, let us support the teachers. One way we could actually support the teachers is by building those small houses for them. And I believe the school has land. The school still has land whereby actually they could construct some small blocks that could accommodate these teachers, and rather than just them spending times in classrooms. And what about the learners? If they come, where will they where are they going to be learning from? Aren't you going to be seeing learners going to study under the trees when they have the classroom blocks that have been taken over by teachers? So I think this issue needed to be addressed, and there's still time, and if we can do the relevant things, at the end of the day, we can do something small for these teachers, and that will make them happy, that will encourage them to really put a lot, and at the end of the day, we shall see an improvement in our results of this region.
Okay, I don't want to dilute much of that we have really been able to maybe put forth for you to understand the situation, but also how really amicably we could resolve certain issues like that of that nature. If you look at that school alone, it has 1,400 learners. This is from P1 up to P7. So this is one thing we need to focus on, and also ensure that these learners are accommodated in classrooms, so that because of this rain, they will not be really interrupted. But also the teachers' welfare need to be catered for. That is one thing we can wind up that discussion with. Let's move to politics. This week on Wednesday, tomorrow, we'll be having the National Unity Platform president, who will be coming to address his delegates and also some of his supporters in this region. Faris, yes. There's a lot of rumors, a lot of speculations, a lot of issues that are moving left and right in terms of security. One, two is the issue of where he will be hosted. This is another thing. Maybe to add on to that, we have also the issues to do with hooliganism that is rampant in terms of when this kind of young people come to this kind of politics. You have a lot of young people who come with a lot of disorganization to really make people unstable, and also sometimes destabilize businesses. How is the atmosphere for maybe to receive this man tomorrow? The atmosphere, I think the people are very much prepared. Most of the fans are really eagerly waited to see the man coming to their city. But now the issue is, he actually hinted on it. He warned the group, his supporters, from this aspect of looting, because looting was identified as one of the things that was deterring his movement in the other districts. So he actually came out and clearly said it, that people should not be able to be involved in looting of property, because he warned it. And he actually also came out and spoke about the issue of security and called for vigilance. And now when it comes to Arua City, the group behind his coming to the city, actually he lamented on this the other time during the press conference of him coming to Arua City. They actually say they are well prepared and ready to host the man and ready to do with anything. So, because for them, they are already prepared. They are working with the security agencies. They are working with Uganda police to see to it that the people who are coming to this man's
rally are really secure. So I think that issue of security, the people look to be more organized and more ready to host the man, and that is really where we need to involve ourselves in, because the issue of security, Frederick, you know, the other time recently the head of state was actually talking about it, and now that we are having threats of bombing attacks, so I think it is really important for us to also have a look to it that we have our security, our individual security. We should start with you. Vigilance must be starting with you. We must ensure individual vigilance. If you see something that you're not maybe well conversant with and you do not understand, you can be able to rush and report to the nearest security agencies, so that at the end of the day, this thing does not harm you. Why am I saying this? Because people are going to be coming with different motives. And the group actually came out and said to it that there are some people who will be able to masquerade, and they want to warn those masqueraders, people who are not supporters of NUP, but they will be coming as NUP. They issued strong warnings to them that if they discover you are not a supporter of NUP, but rather you come with intentions of disrupting the event, they are really going to deal with you in a way that you will not understand. They are going to hand you over to security agencies. Uganda police will be working with them now that they have given clearance. Now the issue of venue is where really I want to interest myself with, because the venue that they announced, our primary school ground, the stakeholders there have been saying the stadium is not ready to host such events, such a huge event. And now we are seeing to it that NUP actually announced that they are going to be using our primary school playgrounds, which is still under development, because the grass there is not yet ready. And the HM actually, in one of the interviews I had with him the other time, he told me the facility is not yet ready. And when we asked him why has the facility been used for other events, such as a rally, we have seen fundraisings taking place there, and prayers taking place, he actually told us that those are activities that do not eat up the grass. People who come there come with motives. They come and just, because this is a football playground, but it has never been used for football ever since they started developing the place. And that issue was actually raised, and we really went and interviewed him and to find why the facility has not been put under use, because we are seeing it being used for other functions rather than football, which is the main activity that is supposed to be taking place there. He actually came out and told us that the facility is not ready for sporting activities, because sporting activities eat up the grass, because so many people come with a lot of force on it. Now we are seeing Bobby Wine coming to it, to our primary, where it was actually announced. And now we are seeing speculations of the venue not being cleared. The issue of venue is still pending. And just that we're having a day, the day is just tomorrow. Frederick, me and you remember what happened about the memorial lecture we are supposed to be having. It also had issues of venue, because the venue was not cleared, and up now the event did not take place. And should we be expecting the same maybe to take place come tomorrow? Because really, if the issue of venue is not cleared, people are not going to be coming to see there, because security, whether we like it or not, people who are there will not allow the event to take place without their permission, without their acceptance, without their consent. It will not really go on. So I think that is where we need to come up on board.
Okay,
and have an understanding to it that maybe if the issue of the venue is not addressed today, at the end of tomorrow we may not be able to see this event taking place or going on.
Okay, maybe about the venue and also the clearance, will be still following up this with the police to understand whether this visit to Arua has been also catered for in their plan, but also what is at stake. To understand that, we'll be really moving to police to understand this and also bring you their perspective of whether they are prepared in terms of providing the necessary security, because these people were cleared to move to every region to ensure that they really consult and reconcile with their party members and so on, in order to strategize for 2026 general elections. And also maybe Faris, lastly about NUP, what are we expecting from the party president that is coming now here in Arua City? There were a lot of issues, remember, during the 2021 general elections, issues to do with the allegations of abductions, allegations of people missing, issues of the party president saying he was not satisfied of the results. He was one of the persons who threatened to petition and eventually withdrew. So what does this mean, and what are we expecting from him?
You cannot talk about development of NUP in Uganda without talking the aspect of Arua City. So I think Arua has really played a great role in terms of developing NUP as a party, in terms of identifying NUP as a party of the people. I think really we expect him to be talking a lot, because this is the make of NUP. They actually came out and really addressed Arua as the maker of National Unity Platform, because this is where the genesis of the National Unity Platform began from just being
stemming from the
2018.
2018, yes.
There's one thing that
by elections.
Yeah, which if you are to remember the incident that happened on 13th of August, you will really know when the driver died, and this is where really the beginning of NUP we take it that way. This is really where it began from. And 13th September, this actually chose the same date just because of the significance. Now the only difference is the month. Because those incidences that happened 2018, you remember them, I will not be able to talk much about them, really happened on 13th of August, and now he's coming on the 13th of September. The only difference is the month, but the date remains the same. Why they chose this date is because of the significance this Arua city has on National Unity Platform, from just being a pressure group to a political party. That transition from a pressure group to a political party, because we all know National Unity Platform started as a pressure group of people power, then transiting into a political party that is National Unity Platform that we have today. So I think really that is where the genesis of National Unity Platform began from, and these people have a point that they really want to bring the man to Arua and address. And now we are having this. They have a lot they are going to be discussing. I expect the man to be addressing a number of issues. Frederick, if you have to remember, ever since that time, he has never come to Arua. He has never gotten that chance of addressing the people again. From that time, from 2021 up to now, he never had the chance. And now the Electoral Commission, in terms of the electoral reforms, gives them the mandate for all the party presidents to be moved, because it is for restructuring purposes. So I believe really he has a lot that he is going to be addressing, and people are still being left, because people have been left disarmed, and others deformed when it comes to that issues of National Unity Platform. You remember the sagas. We also expect him to be addressing these people, and now we also have that we expect him to be talking a lot. Really, there's a lot that he should be able to address. First of all, how ready the party is when it comes to the issue of 2026, and what the party has been really doing. And we also expect him not only to be talking, we expect the leaders to also address their challenges, because they are the ones on the ground. They really have a lot of issues that they would want to put forward to the party president, and this is where we are going to be having that interaction. And this coming to Arua City, first of all, Frederick, is not only for Arua City. We expect the neighboring districts also to be coming, because talking about the neighboring districts, we expect people from Koboko, people from Nebi, people from Maracha, people from Terego, people from Yumbe, all to be coming to Arua City. This is where they're going to meet their party president, because there's really a lot that these people will be able to discuss, and he will have to respond to these people's queries, because some of these people have issues that they want to put forward because of different reasons, of which is that they never had the time to openly discuss in public like this, and now the gathering is coming up. They will be able to have a lot of these issues discussed with the party president, now that the Electoral Commission allows them to move, actually. And this is from right back from 2021, ever since they never had time, and now they have the time again to move. So I believe there is really a lot that they're going to be talking and discussing when he comes to Arua City.
Okay, I hope the police will not be there to block any of the presidential candidates who is coming to this region to really say a lot, because in the recent experiences, these have been some of the issues that were fronted. Sometimes candidates blocked before even accessing their supporters and so on. We expect this time not really to happen, because I hope if a candidate follows the rightful procedures and also really plays the game within the guidelines, we don't expect those kind of instabilities to come in that kind of meetings that they have, as long as the motive is one, looking at what they actually requested from Electoral Commission that they are going to deliver. Maybe still within politics, let's move to the conflict within FDC party that has continued to move on. And also we have seen the retired Colonel Kiza, who has been very instrumental in raising Forum for Democratic Change to the limelight, coming up and saying, after quite a while, stepping aside and saying he's not going to contest and not going to do anything with the party and so on. He has come up all openly with Nantala Mafabi to say that they have their own faction, that they are mobilizing people to rally behind them, and they will continue to front also a candidate who will be contesting within FDC party. Apart from Patrick Oboy Amuriat, maybe Faris.
Yes.
Remember, we last month discussed a lot of issues to do with the government chief whip, to do with the FDC whip, to do with a lot of appointments being restructured and brought back and so on in FDC party. This has been stemming from what they termed as a dirty money that came into the party. What does this mean if these factions continue?
First of all, this is really going to cost a party that once enjoyed the majority opposition when it comes to the country, and really it is not going to. It is going to play to the advantage of the other opposition parties. Then it is also going to play to the benefit of the ruling government. Why am I saying this? All these disorganizations have an impact on the local person to whom is the local voter, because all this mindset that has been painted, the ordinary person is going to have an understanding of it, that is going to have that belief that whatever is happening is true. Because all these things come with allegations. We are talking about dirty money that was eaten, and now really the situation is coming up. And this is quite sad for a person who once enjoyed, and because he said he retired from the active politics and now he's coming back, which means he retired in paper, not in terms of yes, he retired on paper.
Most times they don't document those things
because he still has influence on the affairs of the party from whom which he began, and I believe he had his time, and now if he does not leave running the affairs of this party, really it is going to cost a lot of disorganization. Last month we actually had the swearing-in ceremony of the newly elected leaders from this region in a rural city here. And one aspect that these people had was that SFDC now has two blocks, the Najana Nkumbi and what is the other group? These people have two groups, two factions now that really, and the group that was in a rural city actually was in support of the Najana Nkumbi bloc. They are really saying that all they want is their party president should be Patrick Amuriat, not the other group. So I think this is where the issue is coming, and all this divisionism is going first of all disintegrate the members. Some members are going to be moving to the other group instead of coming as a group of that, or as one group. Now they're going to be divided because some of the people are going to move. Remember how our aunt swept away some members of the FDC, and that really affected the voters. Frederick, why am I saying this? Because aunt, we cannot distance ourselves from this. True. Aunt began from FDC, and when they swept themselves away, you really saw what happened, and it really played the advantage of National Unity Platform becoming the majority opposition party, and this is really going to cost more. So that at the end of the day, it is really going to impact on the lives of the people, because some of the people are going to be moving from FDC, they're going to follow their people, because Frederick, political parties, these political parties, sometimes people have their prophets that they believe in. They do not believe in the party, but they have their prophets that they believe in. And who are the prophets? The leaders that they have. Somebody may just understand the gospel that a leader is preaching and becomes a fan of that person. And really, this is quite sad, and is really going to be able to also attract and disintegrate the members. Why am I saying this? If Dr. Kiza Besigye fronts a candidate, what about Patrick Amuriat, who would also be there as a candidate? And all these are going to be taking the voters of FDC. They're going to share the voters of FDC. Why am I saying this? Because the supporters of Kiza Besigye, who are FDC members, are really going to follow him. And then the supporters of Patrick Amuriat, who are also of FDC, are going to be also giving their votes there. So I think this is going to cost a party that should be restructuring at this time. Frederick, we should be thinking of restructuring and forming ways when it comes to 2026, because 2026 is not very far. We are already in 2023. We just have 2 years, I should say, because campaigns and serious campaigns usually start between 2021 and right now, even the campaigns have already started. I can actually say that people already campaigning. These openings, you have seen what politicians do. That is still politics that is not in open, but it is happening. You cannot distance ourselves from it. So I think when it comes to 2021, we are going to be witnessing a lot, because these issues of the parties really not organizing themselves, and all these conflicts cost the party. If FDC collapses in the nearby future, it will not be to our surprise, because all these things here, all the leaders, if the leaders do not come up and clearly form ways and address the issues of the party, really for the supporters, it is really going to cost them a lot, because the supporters are the believers. They are the ones that really rally behind these political parties. And if we are disintegrating and now we are dividing the supporters, really, what do we expect of a party that once enjoyed being the majority opposition in the country? And now that these leaders are coming with their leaders, and the other one is saying we are fronting our own party, what about the party whom what about the president whom the party chose? Whom is he going to have? Who are going to be rallying behind him? and that is where we're really going to be seeing a number of issues. And recently, remember, we had rumors that the party president of Dr. Kizza Besigye actually came here. I'm not so sure about it.
It was a rumor because
yes.
he did not come openly.
Yes,
yes.
It was. That's why I'm saying it was a rumor we had. But still, we know how he is influeing the affairs of FDC because sometimes you expect him to be offering guidance now and really guide because he's an elder. The elders of FDC, we really expect them to be offering solutions now to the leaders who are there, the ones who have taken the mantle. Because he was there, he knows and understands what maybe is supposed to be happening. But if these wrangles between the two blocks continue, we are bound to be seeing issues of FDC disintegrating more, and we are going to be seeing the impact of FDC losing it. We are going to be losing more of the impacts of FDC among the masses because all these things are going to be played to the advantage of the opposition parties, first of all. Then it's also going to be played to the advantage and benefit of the ruling government because for the ruling government, already they are restructuring. They are really collecting their voters together. You cannot hear wrangles from the other sides now because for them, all they are doing is to see to it that 2026 should come when they're already prepared, when they are ready for everything. So at the end of the day, if we are still having conflicts here, and all these conflicts, Frederick, I'm telling you, have a negative perception of the mindset of the local person because all these things have been painted. People have chewed money from so and so, and now we are seeing conflicts. Really, it is going to cost them, and people are going to have that belief when it comes to the issues of people chewing money, and the political parties will continue to lose more integrity when it comes to the ordinary person.
Okay, if you have a conflict with your wife or your husband, do not extend this for 1 or 2 days. This may not really help much if you don't address it immediately. I mean, a party that has conflict, that is living in a conflict situation for more than 1 month, there's something that needed to be really addressed. I earlier on told you that gathering so many elites without advisors is very, very difficult to manage. If you are the manager, it is very, very hard for you to gather all the ideas and accommodate them in one way that you will really feel like they should move forward. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll move away from politics and dive into the issues of health concern, the threatening HIV reports that are among the young people. What does this mean? What should we do? Thank you.
Westnile TV, lighting up the region.
A brand new Global Star TV with StarTimes Inside Technology. New TV innovation with an inbuilt decoder that connects you to both StarTimes antenna and satellite signal. With StarTimes Inside Global Star TV, you can enjoy over 300 local and international channels, 1 month StarTimes highest bouquet for free, automatic system update, more benefits, more affordable. StarTimes Inside Global Star TV is available in all StarTimes branches and dealers countrywide. StarTimes Inside, entertainment inbuilt.
Westnile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, thank you, dear viewer. You are still watching the KOKOLIRIKO show, the morning show that comes every Monday to Friday, every week. That is here on Westnile Television. My name is Frederick Dramadri, and I'm here with Faris Mazid. We are dissecting on the issues of the divisions in FDC party that really many people feel like they have to come up and say something about. Even the local person there has a say about this party, because there are so many who had believed so much into this party and felt that especially those who have the mentality of being opposers to the ruling party, that is National Resistance Movement, really felt that this was going to be the main opposition party that can at least pull down National Resistance Movement. But now we have seen the divisionism in the party leadership already dragging it behind. That is what one thing we are really talking about. But let's move away from politics and talk about the health concerns. The cases of HIV among young people is really alarming. 70% of the new cases are among the young people between the ages of 15 to 25. Out of the 53,000 people that were detected having HIV and now have been enrolled on antiretroviral drugs. Faris, a lot of things to do with the young people. What does this mean? Young people really using the available opportunities provided by these health workers, especially talk about the issues of sex education, talk about the issues of the youth corners that we have to really empower the young people on how to deal with some of these situations. That means young people are too hard and also too much into playing open sex. That is one thing we really need to stress so fast. What have we really not done as leaders or parents, Frederick, or even the young people themselves?
Yes, there's quite a lot that we have not done as stakeholders. Why am I saying this? Because adolescents, really, Frederick, those rates are very high, and these statistics do not lie. Why am I saying this? We are currently living in a world that is the digital era, and we know how it is really impacting on the lives of the young ones, and adolescents become more vulnerable to this. Why am I saying this? Because we have a lot of things that are happening currently in the world, and if we do not address on some of these issues, really, it is what is causing the number of HIV that is currently on the rise among the young ones, the adolescents. Why am I saying this? Because the adolescents sometimes also have the issues, a lot of issues that go to behind their minds. And right now, Frederick, if you move within a raw city, you can tell how many young people are moving out at night, and some of these people, and you just look at it, you can be able to tell how many young girls are moving out. And the young boys also, this is not only go to the young girls alone, it is affecting both the young girls and the young boys. They really move out at night, and the impact of it all is that they will be able to go and have unprotected sex, which is currently the highest cause of HIV that is really bring the new cases. And if we do not take care of ourselves, the young ones, this is the young ones, we are really bound to be having a disease. Frederick, one issue that is still lacking is that the issue of the sex education that is still lacking. The issue of sex education is still lacking in all levels. Why am I saying in all levels? Even the schools do not have that component still very much. And yet the world is changing, and the children get to know and discover a lot of information each and every day. There's something new that they are discovering, but when it comes to the issues of sex protection, we do not have that impact of it, that component of it, and the parents still do not embrace this issue of telling their young ones the issues of sex education, maybe in terms of protection, and then what they can do actually to avoid some of these issues. Because, Frederick, we are getting to understand that sometimes it is now impossible, it is becoming nearly impossible for young ones to avoid these issues of early sex now. One indication is the high numbers of early pregnancies among the young ones. We are seeing that. And then the high numbers of young parents. We are seeing also young boys becoming fathers. So I think this issue is one thing that we need to look out to. And it's really impacting on HIV because these people go for unprotected sex. One indication that you had an unprotected sex is actually the issue of making somebody conceive or you impregnating somebody. That is an indication that you had unprotected sex. So I think this issue is also contributing great, and that is an indication that there may be there are high numbers of HIV that we are witnessing. And if we do not address them, we are bound to be seeing more cases of HIV. And to the young ones, let us embrace protection. And sometimes really the issue of mindset among the young ones also is very difficult. You look at the young ones, they will really tell you, Frederick, they will always come up with issues this thing does me bad. You can tell, you have been to institutions, and we really had these issues becoming very common. The stereotypes, the negative stereotype when it comes to the issues of protection. Some young ones do not want to use protection just because they feel. It is not true, but it is a stereotype that they have in their mind, that, and the negative mindset that needed to be changed, because they already feel that these protections are not good. What they want, you know them, I cannot talk about them, I cannot break up here because we know how they have really been impacting, but you, and as you as an adult, you know how they have really been doing it. So I think we needed to also come up on board and explain to them and make an understanding, make them understand that what they are doing is not good. It is really going to affect their lives, because if you contract HIV, Frederick, really it is going to affect your lifestyle. It is really going to cost you a lot. And the high prevalence rates, I think now, let the government and the family members take it upon themselves to start educating young ones about sex education, because that component of it is still lacking. Frederick, I can assure you, sex education is still lacking very much in this region. Most of our parents do not have time with our young ones. We do not tell our young ones about the issue of sex education. We do not teach our young ones the issues of sex education in this region, more so in this region, but in Buganda. I am very much proud of them. I very much love it that they have the component. A child will be taken to the aunties. You know that thing of saying, we are taking you to Usiko, we are taking you to the bush. That is where they're going to be teaching you about sex education. Your auntie will play a great role in terms of teaching you. But when it comes to this region here, we do not have that component of it. So at the end of the day, our young ones will keep on messing because they do not have the knowledge of sex education. But in other regions, I think Bunyoro also has the same component, whereby your child will be taken to your brother or your auntie somewhere. You take your child to the aunties or uncles. If it is a boy, you take the uncles to teach them about sex education, that component of sex education, which is not here. And I think if maybe our families, also our culture, our tradition could embrace the same, maybe at the end of the day we'll be able to have that reduction, because the children will now know what exactly to do when it comes to the issues of avoiding. Because some of these issues these cases are attracted, and these children contract the cases unknowingly. They do not even know what they are doing. So I think there's something that we need to do and see to it that HIV is reduced, because you know now, yesterday we are discussing on the issues of the drugs not being there, the facilities, and people misusing these drugs. And now we are seeing high cases of people contracting the disease. What does it mean? What does it mean for our station, for our nation? What does it mean for the people who are maybe going to be contracting the disease and those who have not contracted the disease? So I think we really have to be careful. We need to be mindful of ourselves. We need to be vigilant. Let's take care of ourselves and see to it that we avoid some of the cases, because this is a disease that maybe if we use protection, if you feel that you cannot avoid going for these testings, because one issue that the doctors usually told us is that before you go for sex, you need to go and have that test. You need to have that. Both partners need to go and have yourselves tested before going to that thing. But now we are seeing children, we are seeing adolescents. They do not have time sometimes to go for these things. So I think what they need to do is have protection.
Okay, if you look at some of the statistics around sex among young people, you realize that World Health Organization actually documented that sex among young children, talk about the ages between 5 and 7, is too prominent. It's too prominent among the school age going, especially children between the ages of 5 to 12. That means these cases are expected, and also the HIV prevalence is expected to rise, because most of these children do these things maybe unknowingly or knowingly, but they do not really have that protection measures. But also talk about the issues of how really at family level people are training these children to learn about sexuality. This is something that is lacking. But also we have a lot of young parents who do not have that knowledge of really educating their children or their family about some of these things. Look at this era of technology that has advanced, and also talking about how really people are coping up with certain activities. For instance, Faris, you left your home, and this time you don't know what is happening at home. Your wife is not there. She has also gone for another work. That is where the children are left.
Alone,
and
yes.
Children learn among themselves. Whatever they learn, you don't know. You reach home in the evening. You have no time to interact with them.
Frederick,
you are stressed from work. You want to sleep, and you don't have time to really educate these children. Those are some of the issues that are really forcing these children to do certain things without even the parents knowing
sometimes parents also contribute to this. Why am I saying this? Whereby it's the situation whereby parents are sharing the rooms with their young ones. Really, what you do at times, the children do not sleep. They are witnessing. They are seeing what you're doing. Then tomorrow, when you leave to go for work, when you leave to go for other duties, they will also start to practice what they learned, because we have seen this among children. We have had scenarios whereby the issues of sharing rooms among parents, among partners, you share a room with your children, and the children will be able to see what you're doing at night. And the time you leave, they also start practicing what they saw, because if we do not have the issues of accommodation, and this is to the parents, we should avoid sharing our rooms with children. And if we do not have rooms for our children, let's have some bit of privacy, because for ourselves as parents, we need the privacy. And to the children, also give them their privacy. Let's keep them in rooms that maybe they will be able not to see what you're doing. Because if we do not address this issue here, we are bound to be seeing some of these children learning from us, actually, as parents. And at the end of the day, it will really cost us a lot. And because the children will be the ones to get spoiled. So I think that is one issue that we need to address. We need to bring on board, because parents really need to have to look to it that they do not share rooms with children. Because somebody 5 years is already learning how to do these things here. And he grows up with that mindset, Frederick, because one thing, that is something that once you learned, you'll never forget. Because it really sticks in your mind, and you'll be able to practice. And that is whereby you see, if the child reaches a certain age, we are going to be witnessing more young children, more young parents. I think that is one issue that we need to look out to, the issue of accommodation. And because it has really been costing a lot, it has really been impacting on the lives of children getting to have that knowledge of sex early. So I think we need to have a look to it there and have means of reducing some of these issues. One, by having time with our families and talk about these issues of sex education. And this is most common with the young ones, because the ladies, they are the most vulnerable to the issues of early pregnancy. So I think if we are to be able to address that issue of early pregnancy, that also comes with the issues of, because it puts you on risk. One of the risks that actually comes with the risks of HIV. Not only HIV alone, we have several other diseases that we do not talk about, the UTIs. So I think we need to have means and talk to our children. Let's have means that we shall be able to share with our children. Because we need to have these issues of whereby we have time with our children. We share a lot, because at the end of the day, it will be to the benefit of the young ones.
Okay, that is really a very strong message from Farish Majid. First of all, if you talk about the issues of children learning from their peers, it is so worrying, because children come from different backgrounds. How sure are you that your child is working with a child with a rightful mind that will really take your child to do a better thing? But also the issue of testing. Testing is very important, but having a respect for yourself and others is very, very paramount. For instance, you have really known your status that you are HIV positive. Why should you really opt to move out and really spread this? That means you want to kill more people. And this is one thing really we need to really stress so further. As we are giving these people the antiretroviral drugs, talk about the various medications that we give them to prolong their life. Let's also keep on giving them those advices, and really they keep themselves around whatever they already have, so that they live longer, and other than spreading the disease further. But also the behaviors that we have here in this country. We have Uganda being 5th ranked because of alcoholism. You know, alcohol drives a lot of things. People, once maybe they've taken alcohol, they tend to behave like he goes and she goes, and so that is one thing really we need to look at so much. If you are drunk, you don't really move to other partners and really look for people's wives and any other person to really sleep with. You have that self-testing, and also move to health facilities frequently to check your status with your partner to ensure that we all do well. But also talk about other places like the fishing communities. That is one area where some of this, it is actually one of the red zones that has been identified to have really contributed to this. And we have young children who are working around this, along the shores of lakes and so on. Those are some of the prominent activities. Let's take charge of our health. Let's take charge of whatever we're supposed to do. Maybe Faris,
Yes.
we're winding up the discussions. Your final words?
You talked about
Yes.
contributors that have been really increasing on the HIV. We have one that you left out, the local discos, the local derbies, that which we love so much as young ones. And this is one area that has actually been contributing. Yes, we love local derby, Frederick, I can tell you, as young ones. We do not want to hear any big. Once we hear it, we're already there. And what is it going to be having on our lives? Once we go there, we have these issues of the drugs now that will lead us into drugs. And once we have drugs, once we have the alcohol, once we are in the control of the alcohols now, we lose control of ourselves. At the end of the day, we are going to be sleeping and having unprotected sex that will put us at risk of HIV. So I think the young ones, the issues of local derby that we love so much needs also to be addressed, because it is one issue that has been contributing to the rampant increase of HIV in this region. So I think if that issue is addressed, maybe at the end of the day, it will also have an impact on the reduction of HIV in this HIV prevalence rates that we have in this region. So I think we needed to do something, and as stakeholders, we need to regulate the discourse. And let's have to it that the people who go there are not the young ones alone, because let's have the young ones off the local derbies. I think to me that will be able to also be of importance in terms of addressing the issues of the HIV that is currently on the increase in this region.
Okay, HIV prevalence, teenage pregnancy, child marriage are results of child-to-child sex, or maybe sex among the children. That is one thing we have been not really focusing so much into. Parents and caregivers, this is where we should interest ourselves and also ensure that we curtail some of these cases, because once a child is sick and has really understood that he has HIV, the child may lose morale for any other thing that he will be really doing very prominent, and also that will be something very important for this country to really tap into. Talk about the employment sector, talk about really taking education as a serious thing, because the child will underrate that he will really survive for long. That is it that we prepared for you for Tuesday edition for this week. We'll be moving out of the studios. Up next, we'll be having the news in Lubarati with Fete Emmanuel. That is where you'll be able to also understand some of these issues in the local context. Thank you for watching.